One of the questions that I get asked the most is, how can I possibly survive on so little money? And honestly, it isn't easy. Even if you are earning minimum wage and you are working full time, you're only going to be bringing home somewhere between £1,700 and £1,800 a month. And for most people, especially if you've got a family, it's not enough to survive on in the UK. With bills going up, food costing an absolute fortune, and the kids always needing something, money disappears so much quicker than you even think. But I have built some real frugal habits that actually work. They help me to keep afloat. I'm fortunate enough to no longer be in that wage bracket bringing home, but it wasn't that long ago that I was. And these are 6 of the key habits that I've learned and that I still use today that got me through those tricky times. It helped me when I honestly didn't know where else to turn, and I wondered how I was literally going to get from one day to the next. And with 2 children, it was hard. And I needed these tips, these hacks, just to get me through. So today's video, we are looking at how to survive on just £2,000 a month, some of the hacks and some of the tips that I used, some of the things that I still use today, because they just make good financial sense. And they're honestly the key to making the difference between existing and living. First up is the planned shop, not the pop-in shop. If we are being real, the biggest money leak has got to be food. Whether it's in the supermarket, whether it's the takeaways, whether it's eating out, that is the crux of it for most families, because it's the place where your money can easily fall through your fingers, or you can really draw in your purse strings. And there are so many extremes of what you could purchase food-wise. I have been at both extremes where I've had literal a few quid to be able to survive on, and I've done it. It was hard and I've done it, but there's some hacks in there that helped me through and made me realise that I don't need to be spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds to be able to survive. And although I do enjoy eating out and I do enjoy treating myself, there's also things that we can do to help us rein it in and make sure that we're spending wisely, but we're also not depriving ourselves. And for me, having that plan and knowing exactly what I'm going in for and making sure I'm only getting what I'm going in for, because we've all fallen for it. You know, you go into the supermarket just nipping in for the milk or the bread, and you come out with a multi-pack of crisps, a bottle of wine, and a really nice fragrance candle that you smelled on the way in. But you absolutely did not need it. And I've been there. I have absolutely done that, which is why I now go in with my plan. Plan my food shop properly. I'll write out the meals, check out the cupboards, check out the freezer, go through everything that I've got. Going forward from this week, I'm going to have a massive rein in on this, because I felt that in a couple of places I've been quite lax in this. I've got quite comfy with spending a bit more than perhaps I needed to, but I've now got some new goals in mind where I know that the best place for me to try and save cash is in my food budget. So I'm going to be really drawing that in, and if you want to follow along on that journey, you would absolutely be welcome. I'm going to be sharing all the things that I'm doing over on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts as well. But it's going to be interesting to kind of go back a little bit to some of the basics, because some things might feel quite extreme and others might feel like quite savvy. So hopefully there'll be some ideas in there that you can share along with me. So whilst it might take half an hour, probably even less once you get comfortable with it, of sitting down with your plan, writing out what you've got in your cupboards and everything else, and then creating menus off of everything that you've already got, rather than going out your way and just buying whatever you fancy or buying whatever you think, oh, that's a great offer, maybe we'll have that at some point. Going in without the plan is where I personally will downfall, and I know it is the biggest saving, which is why I'm starting off with this one today. The truth is that meal planning doesn't necessarily feel Instagram worthy. You know, I put a video up the other day with how to budget for just 7 meals, and they were the most basic meals. And I thought to myself at the time, you know, I'm putting these out and am I teaching people to suck eggs? Because for me, these are my basic go-tos. They're really easy I know how to make them quick and I know how to do them cheaply. And I got quite a bit of like negative feedback. Oh, well, yeah, it's the typical foods, the really cheap foods. Well, yeah, they are, because these are the things that I need to be able to do the other things, to be able to save in areas. There's not that many foodstuffs that are so versatile, but also that can help us save the cash. So whilst, yes, pastas and rices and potatoes, which are our staples, those are also the things that can save us when we are trying to save. It means knowing that I've got my pasta and my mince, I've got some tinned tomatoes at the ready. I'm not then going to be panicking and spending 20 quid on a takeaway. Planning, yeah, it's boring, but it works. Number 2 is cash stuffing, but realistic. Cash stuffing has gone viral. Since I started doing this channel and setting up my cash stuffing story, if you like, it seems to have taken over the world. So many more people have realised just how successful it can be and how much it can help them. But it doesn't mean you have to stuff cash into hundreds of perfectly lined up labelled envelopes. I pick the categories that I always use, the ones that I always go to, the ones that fit my family and my circumstances, and everyone's going to be a bit different. What hobbies one person has might be different to somebody else's. What life situation, home situation is going to be different to somebody else's. And even if you only start with the envelopes that always trip you up, the Christmas, the birthdays, the takeouts, then start with those. And then when you see them successful, when you see them working for you, you might start to think, well, how else can I implement this in my life? How else can I make this work for me? And you'll want to do more. That is what I personally found. So I literally put the cash in the envelope. If I've got 20 quid in the takeaway, then I know I've planned for it and I can get that cheeky pizza takeout. And if I've got any money left at the end of it, then they go towards my saving challenges and other fun things, because I'd already planned to spend the money. If I happen to have not spent it, then that's another way of making the most of it. And if that envelope's empty, then it's not a takeaway, it's beans on toast instead. And it's not, or it shouldn't be, about being restrictive. It should be about honest planning, future planning. Because when everything's sat in the bank, it becomes really easy to convince yourself that you've got spare money. Cash stuffing, for me, keeps me accountable. And yeah, my kids know about it. We're sharing it. They know that I'm putting money towards different things. And it's good to have that open conversation, because they're realising stuff costs money. And if they want to be a part of that and they want to be involved in that, then I'm all for it. I want them to start saving too. I want them to realise the value and the cost of things and money. Having them physically touch cash in what I perceive to be a very digital world and makes it harder to understand the value of money. This for me is a win-win situation. Number 3 is the no spend buffer. Every month I will try and have at least one no spend week or several days over a month, or if I'm really pushing it, which I will be doing over the next few months for different reasons, I'm going to be working almost to a full no spend month. So I'm just literally going to be having a handful of days where I'm spending money, fingers crossed, if everything goes to plan. And look, I don't mean no bills, but I'm talking about extras. No random B&M hauls, no Starbucks, no late night shopping on Amazon. When I first thought of doing this, I honestly thought I would be miserable. But actually, it gave me a bit of breathing space. It was quite cathartic. And I started to look around my home and my house and thinking, it's full of stuff that I didn't necessarily need, but I bought at the time because I was trying to scratch an itch or because I was bored. But then I started delving in, I got into the freezer, I started living out of the freezer. I got creative and looking at all the toys that we got over Christmas and birthdays and things that have been put in the cupboard and thought about for another day, but actually got forgotten about. And it becomes a thing where you realise just how much you waste when we are constantly buying new. And here's the other thing, those little wins, those little, I'm just buying a coffee or I'm just nipping into B&M's, those are what are eating away at your £2,000. Not the big spend, it's the lots of little chips. A £5 here, a £10 there, and it's gone. A no spend week shouldn't be about a punishment, it should just be a reset button. And honestly, by the end of the month, sometimes that would be the only reason that I haven't run out of money, is because I'm planning these no spend days in. Number 4 is second hand first. When you are living on just £2,000 a month, sometimes buying new is just not an option. So I make it a rule, second hand first. Vinted, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, charity shops, or even X display if I'm buying a bigger piece of furniture. Those are my go-to look first places before I even consider walking into an actual shop. And I do this for honestly everything. School uniform, when we started back in September, I was adamant that I didn't want to spend a load of money on clothes that were either going to get ruined or grown out of too quick or get lost within a few weeks. So I went to the rail that we have at school where everything is £1, donation of £1, and all those kids that have just grown out of theirs, we've got it for £1 instead of paying £15, £30, whatever it was for the new school jumper. I couldn't justify it. And not only, even though I could afford it, even though I planned for it, it was the principle of it, and it was just the habit that I've gotten into of why should I spend new when there are still perfectly good items out there that I can get cheaper. It is not about being stingy. It has been and can be about survival. And the other thing that I have discovered as well is that nobody actually cares where you got them from. Nobody cares that you've got your gift set that you've just given to somebody for a birthday present from a charity shop. Nobody cares that your kid is wearing secondhand clothes. The only person that might care is yourself. If you've given yourself that superficial value, you put in the price on some things. My kids don't check the label on the trainers. They just care that they fit and that they feel comfy. And they've actually got something on the feet in the first place. Number 5 is to track every penny, but without complicating it. I know tracking sounds like the dullest thing on earth, but this was the one main habit that changed everything for me. It made everything real. I don't use a complicated app. That was, for me, was a bit too overwhelming. I wrote everything down on paper and then with my ultimate budget planner. And for me, this works. Every takeaway, every supermarket shop, every Amazon delivery, it gets written down. Seeing it on paper would honestly hurt sometimes. When I first started doing it, I was like, the only person I was hiding it from was myself. And it just felt a bit silly to go, oh no, I'm going to write this down again. And because I was doing it and I was feeling that way, it made me think, well, then why am I doing it? If I am getting that negative reaction from writing it down, then maybe I shouldn't be writing it down and maybe I shouldn't be buying it in the first place. And that was the whole point of it. If I can look back and go, oh, I've spent 200 quid on bits and bobs, then I can't afford the gas bill. I can't then go, oh, it's a mystery, where did my money go? Because it's right there in black and white for me to see. And here's the other thing as well. Tracking doesn't stop me from spending completely, but it does make me spend intentionally. It makes me ask, do I really need this or am I just bored? And half the time, boredom is more expensive than some of those bills. Number 6 is to celebrate the free stuff. If you know me, I love a freebie for everything. I love a freebie. And the good thing is, fortunately, is that because I love the freebies, I also love the freebies that I have to have rather than the ones that I get as bonuses. And honestly, it just makes life better. So things like the library books. I use the Little Free Library org, which is, we've got a few of those right by me. My little boy loves having a good rummage, and it's great that we can donate the books back rather than going buying physical books time and time again. We could go to the library. We have gone to the library. There's none near to me, but we like using these options. Things like go to the park for a picnic rather than on an expensive day out, or things like looking for the free activities that the council put on so many times. And I don't believe it can just be my council. I think probably most councils are of the same sort of vein. If we can put great things on, there might be opportunities for upselling and you to buy things later on. If you choose not to, then you choose not to. Just take advantage of the free stuff. And the thing is, children don't care. They just care that they're having fun. They don't care whether you've spent 100 quid, 200 quid, or a couple of quid on an activity, as long as it is fun. They don't really know the difference of whether you spent £12 per person on a cinema ticket or whether you've just downloaded a film from Disney Plus and opened a big bag of popcorn that you've got from the supermarket. That is still fun. And, if they're happy, then I'm happy, and my bank balance is happy too. So yeah, surviving on just 2k a month can be absolutely brutal at times. There's no denying that. Some of these frugal habits can make it a little bit easier to do. They can make it a little bit better. And some months I'm actually able to save a little bit as well. If you're in the same boat, do let me know down in the comments section what is something that you do that helps you to survive on not very much money. what is your best frugal habit, because trust me, we are all figuring this out together. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'd absolutely love it if you go ahead, give it a thumbs up, like, and maybe consider subscribing down below, because I've got lots more money saving tips just like this one to help us get through on a month by month basis. And you'll be very welcome to join us over here where it is free. It absolutely makes my day as well. Have yourself an amazing day, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.